Savings. Free shipping is now available. 877-663-2046. D-Rex Pharmacy, 450 Winston Road in Jonesville.
You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air or online at WSJS.com or on my website, RSVP65.com, and on my Facebook page at Jill Nelson. We so appreciate you listening today. And if you are new to the show, I am your licensed health insurance broker, and you can email me with your questions. I love hearing from people. Jill at RSVP65.com. We want to hear from you. And today we are going to talk about our guest on Jill's Heroes in the second half hour of the show, our health feature segment. But first, we will start with our inspirational quote for the day. All right, so this is from Thomas Sowell. And here's what he said. This is kind of a deep thinker quote. It takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance. I know. All right. I'm going to say that again.
Please.
It takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance. I think that's a really good one. All right. So guys, let's talk about the weather real quick, because I'm going to start giving you some weekend weather updates. All rain today. It is just going to be a rainy day. You know, on days like that where it's just rainy all day, it's a good day to just get stuff done. And then on Friday, it's going to be 86 degrees, partly cloudy. Saturday is going to be sunny and hot. Sunday, sunny and hot. So it's going to be a good weekend once we get past this rainy day. And also, I just want to say, if you didn't watch the last couple shows, we had a little guy on here. His name was Jack Waltz. He's amazing.
Amazing guy. And he did an excellent job.
Didn't he, GP?
Yes, he did.
He really did. And so Jack Waltz, he is he's just one heck of a little kid. And yeah. I have to read this to you. I got a note in the mail and I thought it was, something from his mom, but it wasn't. It was from Jack himself, and it was a thank you note. And I got to read it to you.
Yes, please.
Because it's just the sweetest thing.
What?
Dear Mrs.
Thank you,
Nelson.
Jack. I'm sorry.
I know, right?
Thank you, Jack.
Dear Mrs. Nelson, thank you so much for having me as a guest on your radio show. It was a very fun experience, and it helped me grow as a person. I hope to be on your show sometime in the near future. Tell GP I said hi.
Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack. Sincerely, Jack Waltz. Isn't that the sweetest? That kid's definitely going far in life, don't you think, GP?
Yes, he's going places.
Yeah, he really is. Okay,
like I said, Jack, just don't take my job.
Yeah.
Please.
All right. Someone else who has gone places is Sandra Kearns. Sandra Kearns is in studio. She's from On Wings Like a Dove, which is a nonprofit that she started on her own. And Sandra, I'm just so grateful that you're here in studio. Thank you so much for coming in.
Well, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about a celebration that is coming up with On Wings Like a Dove, a graduation celebration, in fact. So before we get to that, tell me a little bit about, for all the listeners who are listening out there, what is On Wings Like a Dove and what do you all do?
Well, we began in 2006, and we began in the beginning ministering to families that had a prodigal, somebody in addiction or any other issue that they were going through, or in prison. So we began to reach out to them, ministering to the families, which found us going into the prisons because we reached out to their child who was in prison. And that has opened up wonderful doors for us to be able to minister and to get Bibles in and Bible studies to the prisoners and so forth. So it's been a great journey. And this last year, we actually began offering hope houses to men and women coming out of prison. And what we discovered was that the greatest need in the community and for the prisoner is to have a safe place to come with some guidance and structure, and mainly to be grounded in the Word of God, because I believe that that's what transforms the mind and renews us. So that's our goal, is to help them to find jobs, to have a savings so that they can go out at the end of the year program and have their own place and be productive citizens again. And they don't have to go back into that area where they were that's filled with drugs and temptations that seem to overwhelm them, get them back into that scene. And then that's what causes the recidivism that we see in prisons, is because they come out, they don't have any support to help them, and then they find themselves right back into trouble again.
Right. And so, something too that I think is really prevalent to speak about is how these folks will come out of jail. And what you're doing on Wings Like a Dove is you're teaching them the nuts and bolts of living, and you're surrounding them with good people. And I was actually in court observing just a bunch of court cases yesterday. And one of the things that the judge said is, you have to surround yourself by good people. The people you're around are not good people. And that is essentially what you're doing. You're not only helping them with the nuts and bolts, but you're also surrounding themselves with good people. And that is an incredible gift. And I know you've seen the shift in people. You've seen how you're impacting lives. And it's not just here in North Carolina. You are doing this across the United States. And what's incredible to me is that it's all volunteer based.
Amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
So what are some of the things that your volunteers do?
Oh my goodness. So many things, from just simple chores such as putting newsletters in an envelope, getting them ready to go to the inmates. And we send about 2,000 of those into the prisoners. And then we send another newsletter into our families. That is to encourage them, to help them know what's coming up, to know when we're doing certain events or having a prayer support event or stuff. We get so many letters daily thanking us from the prisoners for those newsletters that have helped them to have hope and encouragement in the place where they are. So, what I discovered with my own son's imprisonment was that a lot of these folks don't get any mail. So when it's a huge thing for them because their name is called. And then if they get that material and they read it, and which we hope that they do, they'll be encouraged and begin to believe that there is hope in their future, and that somebody out there cares for them, loves them, and wants to see them succeed.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing too, is just knowing that there's someone out there and there's someone who cares. All right. Is there anything I'm not asking about? Because I see you brought something in here. You have this. She brought in this big Bible that looks like it's about 5 pounds. No one's going to attack Sandra today because she is protected by the Lord.
Mhm.
Yes.
She has her sword.
I've got the sword. I always
Yes.
have the sword. And this Bible is so important to me because I have used it so many times, put so many dates in it, and how God has spoken to me. So I brought it just in case I might need to refer to it. One of the
Let's do it.
quotes that I have
Uh-huh.
that I think I shared
We
you
love quotes
last
here.
time
Uh-huh.
is by Mark Batterson. He is an author that wrote Circle Maker, and this comes out of In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day.
I got that book.
You do?
Yes, I
Ah,
I
GP.
love
I
it.
love that book.
I love it. And we as a board and those in our ministry use that Circle Maker to pray for so many things that come up in our lives. But this so spoke to me because it says if you don't turn your adversity into a ministry, then your pain remains your pain.
Mm.
But if you allow God to translate your adversity into a ministry, then your pain becomes someone else's gain.
Oh my gosh. GP,
Yes.
go ahead. I know you want to add something to that.
No, I
Because you
was.
were reading it and I looked over at GP and he made this face. And if there's a sound effect to the face that he made, it would be this.
Whoa! Well, it's just so true. We all go through pain,
Yeah.
suffering in our lives. We have things, we have a story.
Yes.
And if we use that to benefit others and help them to get through, which is the whole reason I started on Wings Like a Dove, because as a mother going through, I didn't have the support I felt like I needed. Yes, I had my friends and they were praying, but I didn't feel like anybody really understood the
You felt
pain
lonely.
I was going through.
Mhm.
So to walk beside families to help them just by listening, if nothing else, because I certainly don't have all the answers or the advice that they might need, but I always direct them back to the God's word and to Him, because we can always receive hope from Him. He is always with us. There's so many promises in this word that got me through in a very hard time with our son. So I always direct people to that
Mhm.
because I don't know what I would have done without it.
Right, right. And that is so true. All right. So we are gonna we want to talk about your graduation celebration for sure. And we were only supposed to have Sandra on for the first segment, but Sandra, I just could talk to Sandra forever, couldn't you? Don't you feel
Yes, I
uplifted
could
after
talk
talking to her?
forever. Yes.
I know.
Can she stick around?
Yes.
cool.
Will you stick around, Sandra?
Please.
Will you talk to us some more?
Sure.
All
Let's
right,
take a break.
we're gonna have her stick around, and we're gonna talk about this graduation celebration and what she's doing because it is just incredible. So, all right, you guys keep staying in tune. We want you to hear what's going on, and we so appreciate you
Thank you.
as our listeners.
Yeah,
You're
thank
listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS.
Be sure to start your day the right way.
It's a busy world, and none of us has a lot of time, especially me. That's why I tune to the station, because in a heartbeat, they're going to give me all the headlines that's going on around the country, around the globe,
The station you can depend on.
and right here locally. Let me know what's going on, and I like to keep on top of everything that's going on. And there's only one place for me to find that, and that's right here.
News, talk, sports for the
And
Triad.
there's only one place we're going to find that information. That's why we use this station.
WSJS.
Attention buyers, Torrance Reed and Forehand Auctions invites you to our premier real estate auction in Danville, a beautifully renovated two-back part of Danville's scenic River District. Over 23,000 square feet of office, warehouse, and manufacturing space with loading dock, updated electric, HVAC, modern elevator, and private parking lot. Perfect for your commercial needs or to convert to multifamily. The auction will be held August 16th at Danville's Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. For details, visit trfauctions.com.
If you're jumping in your car for that last family vacation or driving to the mountains for a weekend getaway, let Haviland Express Lube in Kernersville make your road trip as smooth as possible. Haviland Express Lube offers oil changes, tires, transmission work, brake repair and replacement, North Carolina inspections, and all types of general automotive care. Plus, get your car all shined up before and after your trip with their state-of-the-art car wash. Take care of your car so it can take care of you at Haviland Express Lube and Service, Highway 66 South in Kernersville.
More than 80 million Americans count on AM radio stations like this one for news, weather updates, and the opportunity to discuss and debate important issues facing our country. But some people want to remove AM radio from new cars being manufactured, and we cannot let that happen. Keep AM radio strong, vibrant, and available to you in your car. This is your chance to stand up and be heard. And you can text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to support AM radio. Text AM to 52886.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Rise and shine.
Good morning, good morning,
Good morning. Good morning.
It's Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
And welcome back. I'm Jill Nelson. You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air or online at WSJS.com. And on my website, rsvp65.com, we can help you with health insurance under 65, over 65. Email me with your questions. I want to help you. Jill at rsvp65.com. All right. So, one of the things that I have with my clients is, or an issue that comes up that we talk about, is mental health. And they want to know if they have coverage or don't have coverage, and just kind of things that they can do to help improve that. And mental health, excuse me, is such an important thing to talk about. And I know that you also, come into this subject on a daily basis with your nonprofit On Wings Like a Dove. So tell us, just kind of give us some mental health tips and things that you help promote with the folks that you help out.
Well, it's interesting because I have dealt with mental health issues all of my life because my mother struggled with that. So coming up in life, I was exposed to that. Didn't understand it, and I think a lot of people don't, when you are so depressed that you are just laid up in the bed and can't get up and get out. So I began to understand a little bit more of that as I got older, and then my son began to have some struggles with mental health, which led him into actually self-medicating with street drugs. And he didn't want to accept the fact that he did have a mental illness because he was in Vineyard. What is the name of it? Anyway, he went in for 3 weeks into a situation where they evaluated him and came up with a diagnosis of bipolar. So we went through a struggle as a family of really understanding whether it was the drugs or the mental health that was the issue. It's
Right.
almost like what came first, the egg or the chicken, because I think what I've seen over the years working with the addict is that they all seem to struggle with the drugs, but it seems to be a mental health issue, whether that's just ADHD, anxiety, depression. We don't often think of that as a mental health problem. We think more like bipolar, schizophrenic, those kinds of borderline personalities, that kind of thing. But what happened was that my son was seeking to make himself feel better. So that first marijuana hit that he got made him, he
Took away the
thought,
anxiety and
took it away. And you will never convince me that that is not a gateway drug into harder drugs, because he began to, that wasn't working anymore. So he began to go deeper in the drug scene. So that's what I see. It's such a stronghold of the enemy. What better way to get hold of somebody than through pharmaceuticals and that kind of thing, that they begin to rely on that to make them feel better and to give them hope and so forth, which always ends up in a crash. It
Yeah.
usually just ends up in a crash. So it's been my experience that they kind of go hand in hand. So there's a passage in Romans 2 about transforming the mind through the renewing. And that's what we try to do, is get our residents into the word and help their mind to be transformed. Even when they are in prison and we are doing Bible study correspondence courses with them, I believe that the word is transforming their mind, helping them see a different way, and that God's word it's going to change that heart. A stronghold to me is like the devil has just got his claws out and he's just digging into somebody. So we got to find ways to help them get through that, understand the triggers that bring them back into that addiction oftentimes, because we've had some struggles at our houses with the residents who were drawn back into that scene
Right.
because it's a strong pull.
It is a strong pull. All right. And so that's one of the things that you talk about and you help a lot of folks with is just becoming mentally strong. And so we actually want to talk about your graduation celebration.
All right.
Because you have helped pull people out of the depths of despair and then come onto the other side. So you have a big celebration coming up. Tell us about this.
Yes, we are so excited. We started, like I said, last year. So our first graduates will be graduating this month. We're going to have an event at the Dash to celebrate that and publicize that. And so you can join us if you want to get a ticket and come on August the 19th.
August the 19th.
At 7:30.
At 7:30. And what are you doing exactly at the Dash?
Well, I think one of our residents will be able to throw out the first pitch. You know about that because you did that before.
I did. So the resident that is throwing out the first pitch at the Dash game is someone who has come out of jail, has lived in one of the houses that you provided, has come on the other side, has learned the nuts and bolts of life, has persevered, and now is throwing out a first pitch at the Winston-Salem Dash game. Is this your first graduate?
This is our first graduate. We have 4 graduating, and we are very excited. There are 3 of our guys and 1 lady from the ladies' house, and they are looking right now. Some of them have their own apartments, but they've saved their money. They have to budget along the way and save, and they have jobs. They've been reunited with their families, so their families are coming to help celebrate. That's a huge thing because some of them haven't seen their children and their family in years. You know, it's understandable because so many of them have gone through this addiction for so many years, and family kind of has to back away at some point because they don't
too emotionally
trust.
hard, right? Yeah, I gotcha. And so tell us again, if people want to get involved on Wings Like a Dove, what can they do?
Well, it would be great to just go to our website, onwingslikeadove.com. Has all the information, volunteer opportunities, donation opportunities, and that kind of thing. It tells the whole story. So.
All right. On wingslikeadove.com, graduation celebration Saturday the 19th at the Dash. You
Congratulations, everybody, for graduating.
I know.
Wow.
Congratulations on the graduation and to you for everything that you're doing. Stay tuned. I'm Jill Nelson.
Hi.
How you doing, bro?
How's it going?
Hi, folks. Brian Kilmeade here.
Hi, how are ya? Hey, how you doing?
What's up, buddy? I'm so excited to bring the latest breaking news, sports, politics, and entertainment.
Love the show. Love the show. I listen to you religiously.
To High Point, to Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and beyond.
Big fan.
Yeah, I've been a fan for so long.
Yeah.
Join me this morning at 10 right here on your home for the Brian Kilmeade Show.
I love your show, man. Love it.
News, talk, sports for the Triad, WSJS.
You the man. Oh, yeah.
For the first time in history, the $400,000 Rodeo Carolina makes its debut at the Tryon International Equestrian Center October 6th through 8th. Over 200 of the world's top rodeo athletes will compete in the Triple Crown of Rodeo event right here in Mill Springs. Athletes from across the globe will go head-to-head for their share of more than $400,000 in prize money. Tickets on sale at tryon.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. They've called out the National Guard on the fire-ravaged island of Maui. The Hawaiian wildfires have claimed at least 36 lives and have destroyed treasured historic sites in Lahaina town, which dates to the 1700s. The fast-moving fires chased thousands out of their homes on Hawaii. The government's latest inflation report came out this morning, shows that inflation heated up a bit last month, rising 3.2% compared with 1 year earlier. That followed 12 months of cooling inflation. A leading anti-cartel, anti-corruption crusader running for president of Ecuador, been shot and killed, happened during a campaign rally being held north of the capital, Quito. The opening bell just sounding on Wall Street, with the Dow up 194 points. More details at srnnews.com.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-940-6161. That's 1-800-940-6161. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-940-6161. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
With SRN Sports, I'm Greg Clugston. Michael Lorenzen of the Phillies pitched a no-hit shutout against the Nationals last night for a 9-0 victory. Lorenzen threw 100 pitches after 7 innings, but stayed in the game and said throwing a no-no was a thrill.
It's unbelievable, to be honest. I've always dreamt about being able to throw a no-hitter and having the opportunity. And, Skip gave me that opportunity to go 120-plus pitches, and, man, it was incredible.
It was the 4th no-hitter in the majors this season. Shohei Ohtani earned his 10th victory of the season in the Angels' 4-1 win over the Giants. Ohtani surpassed Babe Ruth by becoming the first player in Major League history to have multiple seasons with 10 victories and 10 homers. Seattle beat San Diego 6-1 for the Mariners' 7th win in a row. They're one of the hottest teams since the All-Star break. This is SRN Sports. More baseball.
Piedmont Triad area weather. Low pressure from the Central Plains has arrived, and we'll be getting showers and thunderstorms off and on through the day. Our high topping out in the mid-80s. Wind will be gusting to 25 miles an hour. Overnight, maybe a few lingering showers, but clearing up after midnight. Our low in the upper 60s. We'll get some sunshine on Friday, but still a slight chance of an afternoon shower with upper 80s. We're in the 90s and fair for the weekend. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for News Talk Sports for the Triad WSJS.
It's an epidemic of massive proportions.
And she's buying a Stairway to Heaven.
People sitting through mind-numbing classic rock songs they've heard for the 4 millionth time in order to get to crucial information that they need.
I'm a honky-tonk woman.
There is help. Triad today on WSJS with news and weather at the top and bottom of every hour, along with sports updates.
I'm a free bird. Yeah.
It's not too late. Help is just a dial position away.
A free bird. Yeah.
WSJS.
The word is out. People are abandoning their overpriced wireless carriers and flocking to Pure Talk for the same 5G coverage, but at a fraction of the price. In fact, the average family saves over $800 a year when switching from Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Get unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data for just $30 a month. Just dial pound 250 and say, switch now to save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 and say, switch now.
Jeffrey Griffin with Triad today on WSJS.
Welcome back. I'm Jill Nelson. You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air online at WSJS.com or on my website, RSVP65.com, and on my Facebook page at Jill Nelson. And if you're new to the show, I'm your licensed health insurance broker. You can email me with your questions at Jill@RSVP65.com. Okay, So we are also going to talk about the weather. So today, it's just going to be a rainy day. Just one of those days. Rain all day today. Not fun, but it's also something that the plants love. All right. And then tomorrow on Friday, it's going to be cloudy, but it'll be 86 degrees. No rain, though. That'll be good. And then on Saturday and Sunday, it will be sunny and hot. So that's not surprising, obviously, because, it is summer. All right. So let's talk a little bit about health insurance. We actually have a guest, but our guest is running behind.
Oh,
I know. But here's the deal.
Well, be safe on the road while you're getting here.
I know, right? We actually, here at WSJS on the Jill Nelson Show, we can improv. We have
We
no problem
definitely-
with that.
We have no problem.
All
Oh,
right.
make sure y'all go follow Jill on YouTube as well. The Jill
Aw,
Nelson Show.
The
So
Jill Nelson Show.
yeah,
on YouTube.
definitely subscribe. Turn on your notifications.
Yep.
Leave a comment. Watch
Absolutely.
watch the past shows.
Yeah, watch the past shows. And that's
Yeah.
the thing is that, the folks that come in here, they just have such good information, and it is so important to the thing that we try to do here at WSJS is we try to leave you feeling good,
Definitely.
and we want you to be happy. So we try to promote that. Anyway, all right. So let me tell you a little bit about health insurance real quick.
Mhm.
So the share of Americans, this just came out, under 65 without health insurance fell in 280 counties and rose in 80 counties from 20 to 2021 as Medicaid expanded coverage for, during COVID-19. And then here are some of the figures from the latest figures from the Small Area Health Insurance Estimates Program, the only federal source that estimates health insurance rates within, all 3,142 U.S. counties. It breaks down coverage. The Bureau found that the percentage of uninsured Americans under 65 decreased. And the year before, many Obamacare provisions took effect. And so here's the deal. What's interesting is the figures, something else that was just recently reported is that also folks who are wanting health insurance aren't necessarily getting health insurance. And so some of the health insurance barriers delay and disrupt and deny patient care. And so that affects other people wanting to get health insurance.
Wow.
I know. And so I'm telling you, it's just, I actually just talked to this guy the other day about getting health insurance. And he said, I don't need it because anything that I could get on the marketplace, I make too much money for. And it's just, it's actually cheaper for me to just pay cash. And I said,
Really?
you're right, unless something really bad happens to you. So it's a gamble, right?
Right.
But the number of Americans without health insurance dropped to a record low of 25.3 million people, or 7.7% of the population. In the first 3 months of 2023, the CDC reported this, and those numbers included record lows of 4.2% of children and 11% of working age adults between 18 and 64 who had no health insurance between January and March. So I know that's a lot of folks.
That is a lot of folks.
Yeah. And so what it is basically nearly 2/3 of people under age 65 were covered by private health insurance, and a little more than a quarter had public health coverage in the first 3 months. But those people who are not getting covered are taking that gamble. And so I think the thing that really breaks my heart is the percentage of uninsured children who remained, relatively stable. But those folks who, may not necessarily be going to the doctor, but because they don't have health insurance, that's a tough one to hear. So if you're one of those folks, please at least contact me, Jill at rsvp65.com, so that we can at least check to see if there's something that you need or there is another option.
Mhm.
All right. Our guest just walked in. This is Luke Farley. Luke, thank you so much for coming in. You're going to sit right there and talking to that microphone. And Luke is actually running for the North Carolina Labor Commissioner. All right. So, Luke, first of all, tell us, what is that? Because you've got a lot of people. I'm sure you get this question all the time. Let's get a little closer.
Yeah,
to you,
scoot
Luke.
closer. There you go.
We want to make sure you're on the camera.
Oh, yeah.
So,
He's perfect.
is good. All right. And this is GP in here, GP in the house. All right. So tell us what it is that this job does that you're running for.
Sure, Jill. Well, great to be with you. Thanks for having me. Great to be back in Winston. I went to school at Wake Forest, so it's nice to be back.
That's
in
a good
Winston.
school.
Yeah. I was happy to be there.
What Wake sport do you like watching the most?
Speaking to the mic.
Wake is great at tennis, so I like watching Wake tennis.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I can't. Basketball's tough. I'll be honest, because I also went to Carolina.
Yeah.
Your heart's always with where you went as an undergrad. So,
Right.
So yeah, probably I'll say tennis because that was right across from law school.
Yeah.
So the labor commissioner, number one job is protecting workers. That is sort of the bottom line. It does a lot more than that, but that's the bottom line, right? The job is to keep the workforce of North Carolina safe. But it does a lot of other things. It forces 13 different laws. People may not know that. Most of what people know is probably the elevator, right? Because everybody sees the picture of the commissioner in the elevator, but the elevator is just a small part of it. Most of it is enforcement of OSHA workplace safety regulations, but it also does things like boilers and pressure vessels. So any sort of piece of equipment that's under pressure gets inspected. All amusement rides, the escalators, escalators, the moving sidewalks, all of those things. So it's about keeping the workforce in North Carolina safe and keeping the people of North Carolina safe.
Mm-hmm. So have you heard the joke about the NC Labor Commissioner lifts me up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there's no shortage of elevator jokes that come when you're doing this job.
I can only imagine.
Lift you up, let you down gently.
Yeah. What are some other ones?
So when I first started running for this office, I was talking to people and somebody came up to me and said, I think your picture would look nice in an elevator. And I said, that's great, because all my life I've been hearing I've got a face for radio. And now you're telling me I've got a face for elevator. So I guess that's a step up. And when I was endorsed by Cherie Berry, the former labor commissioner, one of my friends said to me, well, if she's the elevator queen, does that make you the elevator prince? And I said, I sure hope not.
Right.
I don't need to go by elevator prince.
I had a lot of people make a lot of memes like, where did Sherry go? Once they replaced the picture with yours.
Yeah.
They're like, where did Sherry go?
Yeah. Or, hey, you push my buttons.
Oh, that's a good one. I have not heard that one. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep a catalog of all of
I'm really
them.
glad I could keep it original.
Your elevators have a new prince now, y'all.
Well, yes. And I'm so honored and grateful to have Commissioner Cherie Berry's endorsement for this race. Commissioner Berry was the longest serving commissioner in North Carolina history. She did it 20 years, 5 consecutive terms.
Yeah.
And, she knows the job better than anybody. And she said I'm the most qualified candidate in the race. So I'm grateful and honored to have her support when I'm running for labor commissioner.
That's amazing. Yeah, it really is. And so tell us what are your qualifications? Just so that some folks aren't there, because, first of all, I don't think a lot of people know about what a labor commissioner does, right? So we kind of touched on that. And then also who is Luke Farley?
Yeah. So my background, I'm not a career politician. This is my first step into elected politics. All of my experience in politics up to this point is at the grassroots level, volunteering, supporting candidates, helping them raise money, doing all those sort of things at the grassroots level. But this is my first time running for office. And what I've been doing, though, for the last 13 years is I've spent that time in the private sector as a lawyer representing small businesses who get the safety citations that are issued by the Department of Labor. So I know the work of the department, and I've been dealing with it day in and day out for the last 13 years. I've seen the effects of overreach and overregulation by the federal government and what that does to small businesses and how it's sort of a drain and a drag on the economy. And I've seen that up close, fighting for my clients in the courtroom and in the negotiation room and in the boardroom. And I think it's that experience that caused Commissioner Berry to endorse me, because I've been working with the department and working with the industries that are regulated by the department and dealing with those regulations on a day-to-day basis.
Right. And so that's the thing too, is that, a lot of times I think small businesses, they feel like once they are up against the federal government and, things that are just set in stone with the federal government, it almost seems like a lost cause, and you just kind of throw your hands up and think, okay, well, I just got to accept it. And so I love basically what you're saying is you want to make sure that you're protecting the little guy.
That's exactly right. Right. That is why I'm in this race. I'm so passionate about protecting both workers and small businesses, because you can't have one without the other. Those are the two things that drive our economy and create prosperity in North Carolina, right? It's the businesses that create the jobs and the workers that keep the businesses running, and they go hand in hand. And we need an approach that's always mindful of, as you say, the little guy, those two little guys, because small businesses, they're suffering under inflation. They're just trying to keep the lights on and the doors open.
And we're going to talk more about that when we come back. We've got Luke Farley in studio. We're going to ask him some more questions about being a labor commissioner and what that entails. All right, stay tuned. You're listening to The Jill Nelson Show.
Good morning, WSJS listeners. Rich Eisen here from The Rich Eisen Show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello.
I hope you're enjoying Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
Turn it up, turn it on, turn it loose.
Be sure to join me later on at 6 for the very best in the world of sports and entertainment, right here on your home for The Rich Eisen Show.
Time to own it, rock it, let everybody know you got it.
WSJS News, Talk, Sports for the Triad.
Yeah, get your game on.
Crossroads Ford of Kernersville makes it so easy to buy a new Ford. No games and no gimmicks. Crossroads has the best selection and the best prices in the Triad on new Ford cars, Ford trucks, Ford SUVs, and certified pre-owned vehicles. Know what else is so easy? It's scheduling your vehicle service. You can visit their website today, check out the great service specials they've got, and book your appointment. You can also tour the inventory, get a quote, apply for financing online. Crossroads Ford of Kernersville, right off 540, exit 203. They make it so easy.
Tune in to Preserve Your Wealth with Jules Harris.
What does matter, though, is do you have enough income to support your lifestyle, keep your lifestyle the same?
Your retirement matters.
And the savings plan is equally as important as everything else you have in your retirement plan. And if you haven't saved enough, then you have to up the ante on your savings plan.
Tune in to Preserve Your Wealth with Jules Harris, right here on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad.
The Winston-Salem Fairgrounds presents Diamond Rio as part of the Classic Country Concert Series. Friday night, August 18th at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Annex.
That's how your love makes me feel inside.
CMA's four-time Group of the Year and Grammy Award-winning Diamond Rio.
For the beautiful best of me.
Get your tickets today at WSFairgrounds.com.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity during tax season because so much sensitive info is all together.
Before we start the annual meeting of Sean's personal info, has anyone seen Social Security number?
Not me.
Nope.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, no. He's been stolen.
LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but you can save up to 25% off your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Now, local businesses can get closer to every customer in their city with fast, affordable shipping. Introducing USPS Connect Local. You want speed? We deliver same or next day. You want savings? We give you supplies at a flat rate. You want less legwork? We do free pickups. Move your local business forward with the United States Postal Service. Let's connect at USPSconnect.com/local. Specific markets, restrictions apply. Same day or next day delivery expected, but not guaranteed with entry close to final destination.
Good morning. It's Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. And we are talking with Luke Farley, who is running for the North Carolina Labor Commissioner. And something that we were just talking about over the break is how North Carolina has an independent state with OSHA. So basically what that means is the federal government makes the rules, but North Carolina enforces it. So this is an advantage because we can push back.
Yeah,
talk about that, Luke.
That's exactly right. North Carolina is in a great spot when it comes to dealing with federal regulation. Yeah, the regulations are made at the federal level, but they're enforced at the state level by people, hopefully like me, the next labor commissioner. And we're really in a good spot on that because we have an independent program and an elected labor commissioner. Not all states have that. So here in North Carolina, if you don't like the way the Department of Labor is being run, you can come down to 4 West Edenton Street and come talk to Luke Farley when he's labor commissioner and tell him so, you know.
Right.
You have more access and accountability. If you don't, and if you don't like the way the labor department's being run, you vote me out in 4 years, you know.
Right.
You don't get to vote out Joe Biden's labor secretary. And if you have problems with the way they were doing it, you know, because there are states that don't have their own OSHA programs, you know, around here, you'd go to Richmond or Atlanta, you know, so this is good for the people in North Carolina. It's good for business because you've got access if you don't like the way it's being done. And it's good for workers too, for that matter. If the workers don't like it, they can come find the labor commissioner.
Absolutely. So I run a health insurance agency, and, you know, being a business owner, this is obviously a topic that I'm interested in. And it's obviously something that's important because not only do I want to run a successful agency that is helping people and making sure that they're getting the right health insurance for them, I also want to make sure I'm taking care of my employees and my workers. And because I don't look at them like they're employees or workers, I look at them like they're an extended family. I really, truly feel that way. And so what advice would you give to business owners like me and other entrepreneurs?
Yeah. Well, first, I would say, Jill, you have the exact right attitude towards your employees. And it's the attitude I find by and large across the board is that employers treat their employees like family. It is once in a blue moon that I find people who don't care about their employees that way. And as labor commissioner, I'll recognize that, right? Because what that means is that you treat businesses like partners and not adversaries, partners in building a safe workforce and a safety culture. In terms of advice for entrepreneurs, I would say that you need to be active and engaged. You need to know what regulations are coming down from the federal government, and then you need to be engaged with the Department of Labor. And if you say, listen, we need a different approach than what's coming down from Washington, I want you to stand up and fight this. You need to let us know that when the time comes. Because the interesting thing about our OSHA is that, yes, the regulations are federal, but our law says the program has to just be at least as effective, which means there is some gray area, which means we don't have to accept every single thing that gets forced down from the federal government. And so if businesses and workers are speaking up about the regulations, that gives the commissioner the ability to say, I've heard from the stakeholders and we need to do something a little differently here and push back on this federal regulation.
That's amazing. All right, GP, do you have any questions?
What's the most challenging thing since you enter into this new career or politics?
It's not a new career yet. I still have my day job. I'm still a practicing lawyer representing small businesses in the construction industry with OSHA citations and other things. So it's not totally new.
It's really just
a new lane, right?
Yeah,
it is.
Of
it
what
is.
you do.
Yeah, thank you. That's
would
it.
be.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's taken the skills I've learned in the private sector and applying them to the benefit of the whole state. The most challenging thing about the campaign, I would say, is just time away from family. I've got a wife and 2 little kids. And traveling all over the state, they can't come with me everywhere.
Right.
So it does require a lot of time away from my family. But any kind of campaign event you can bring kids to, we all go. We take the Farley family show on the road. So, so that we try to make up for kind of lost time.
Real quick, what's the most beneficial thing that since you've been in this?
Hands down, meeting people in North Carolina, learning about the different products that are made here. I mean, I was just someplace yesterday and I got a whole tour of a manufacturing facility, and this place is doing everything, everything under the sun, high skilled, high tech manufacturing. And so, the great things are traveling the state, meeting people, seeing all the great things and great work that's being done in North Carolina, the skilled workforce. And then, one other thing too, if I can just be personal, when you're running for office, people come to you and just talk to you about anything. They don't just want to talk about the elevators or the labor department. They want to talk about whatever's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And I just meet so many people and they just come up to me and tell me, listen, my mom is sick with cancer, or I have lost my job, or my business isn't going well. And they just want to talk. And, for me, what it's allowed me to do is to say, listen, I'll hear what they've got going on. I'll say, listen, I'll pray for you. And at the end of every day, all the people I've met, whatever concerns they've got that they brought me, even if they don't really relate to the job I'm running for, I pray for those people because, they want their leaders to be interested and concerned with what they got going on in their lives. And even if it's not what the Commissioner of Labor is going to do, I'm going to take to heart what they've got going on.
I love it.
I know that's absolutely true. And, it's the same thing I hear because I work with a lot of Medicare clients, 65 and older, and I hear a lot of stories. And so my prayer list, I think, gets longer during open enrollment season specifically.
That's exactly. It just keeps growing.
Yeah. And I just, I have a list and it's very purposeful. But Luke, we really appreciate you coming in. All right. So if people want more information, where do they go?
Yes, please go to lukefarleync.com, lukefarleync.com. You can sign up to volunteer. There's also a place to donate. These statewide races are expensive, but lukefarleync.com.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. I'm going to read the quote of the day real quick. It takes considerable knowledge just to realize the extent of your own ignorance. And that was Thomas Sowell. That's a good one. Think about that. It makes you think, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. All right. If you missed parts of our show today, you can always watch a full episode on Facebook or at rsvp65.com. You've been listening to the Jill Nelson Show on WSJS. For Gregory Peoples and Gray Brendel, I am Jill Nelson. Until next week.
News Talk Sports for the Triad WSJS. Hi, this is Lee Habib, your host for Our American Stories. Join me weekday mornings as I tell you the stories that aren't being told. Positive stories about generosity and courage, resilience and redemption, stories about the past and present, and stories about ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things each and every day. So join me, Lee Habib, for Our American Stories, weekday mornings at 5 on News Talk Sports for the Triad WSJS.
Past the 20-15, into the clear, 10-5, and touchdown! Touchdown, Wake Forest!
The return of Wake Forest football is just around the corner. Season tickets start at just $125, and 4-packs for select home games start at only $59. Don't miss any of the excitement. Order your tickets today at godeeks.com/tickets. We'll see you at a Legacy Stadium for Wake Forest football. Go Deeks!
It's Mackmore, Budget Blinds of North Winston-Salem and Mount Airy. We know safety is important when choosing window coverings, so let's hear from one of our younger clients about